Eric Crocker back from 49ers practice, the first padded practice of training camp, the Croc Report, and more from 49ers training camp. Who stood out? Rookies shining on today's Locked On 49ers.
You are Locked On 49ers, your daily San Francisco 49ers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On 49ers. Brian Peacock and Eric Crocker at BD Peacock at Coach Crocky. Thanks everybody for making us your first listen on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Love and appreciate all the everydayers out there. Thanks for hanging with us and getting ready for the 2025 season. Training camp pads on. Guys hitting. Croc was there in person to give his impressions of 49ers training camp in their first padded practice. Make sure you're all subscribed on YouTube and everywhere you get your podcast to hang out with us every day, talking about your San Francisco 49ers. Today's episode of Locked On 49ers brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first ticket purchase. All right, Croc, I liked hearing some of your texts while you were there at practice, things you wanted to talk about, things that struck you as you were watching practice. And first things first, what did you think about the new layout of the field in Santa Clara and the new practice field? They got the new 120-yard field, so you got field goals and everything. Kyle Shanahan said he doesn't even like it, and they might just repaint the whole thing on the next off day. So what did you think of it?
I wasn't a fan of it. As someone who likes to see a lot of the action going on, it just made it very difficult to watch multiple things. Typically, let's say when one-on-ones are going on, right? Because you'll have running backs, linebackers, tight ends doing one-on-ones on one field or on one portion of the field. You'll have receivers, defensive backs on another field or another side of the field, and then you'll have the bigs doing their one-on-ones in another area. The way that the old layout was running like sideways to how the fans are, watching, you were able to see whatever you wanted to see. And the way it is now, with it going more long ways this way, the receivers' DBs were way far away and to the right. And then there's stuff in the way and just could not see it. Now, I did have a great look at the running backs and tight ends going at it with the linebackers and one-on-ones. But, yeah, it just made it a little bit more difficult to see certain things. Now, come team, they were right in front of me with all of their team stuff. But I can only imagine if they went to the longer field that was a legit full field, I would not have been able to see team. So I just got lucky. And typically they alternate between fields from one practice to the next. I got lucky going today, so I had a great viewpoint. But not the biggest fan, because even with the old layout, again, even when they were far away, you still could see everything. This one, it was a lot more difficult. So for the fan experience,
right?
Not a huge fan. And probably beat writers too, because I saw a lot of the beat writers and the way they were kind of like huddled up against this fence, and they were kind of like stacked and lined up. Like it looked like someone trying to squeeze a bunch of sardines into a can or something. It didn't look like it was the most enjoyable watch for them as far as positioning goes either.
You said you had a good look at the running backs versus linebackers in that group in one-on-one. So let's start there, because one of the things you texted me about during practice was third-year linebacker Dee Winters. And with pads on, I think we start to learn a little bit more about a lot of these guys. Defensive versus offensive line one-on-ones, I think, get a lot more interesting. And definitely, we start talking about running backs, linebackers, a little thumping and thudding going on, right? So was there some good hits in camp in the first day with pads on, Croc?
Yeah, well, we started off talking about the one-on-ones, and Winters kind of got, I don't even want to say cooked, but, beat a couple times in one-on-ones, tried to undercut one, and whoever the pass catcher was, might have been Christian McCaffrey or whoever it was just the ball just was past his outstretched hands. He missed it and took a chance. Not a great chance, right? But when they went team, it was clear Dee Winters, he just jumped out. And I tweeted that out. I was like, man, Dee Winters, he looked good. He looked like Dre Greenlaw. Like that's just what, just flying around. He smacked one running back. Now, I took a couple of my players from Stag, and I wanted them to see what it looks like when the professionals practice. And he was like, "Man, coach, I thought they weren't tackling. Like, I thought it was supposed to be thud." I said, "Yeah, that's a thud at this level. Like, you're not wrapping up and taking guys to the ground, but if you just run through somebody, hey man, that you just ran through them." And Dee Winters was doing just that. And there were some other ones where you just see just the physicality and just the relentlessness to get to the ball, and like the effort, the closing speed on run plays. It looked good. Now, I'm also watching what jumps out to me. There could be some plays that weren't great, right? And that's typically the saying in football: it's never as good as you think it is, never as bad as you think it is. So I would like to just be able to be a fly on the wall and watch the all 22 meetings and hear how the coaches feel like he did at linebacker. But just watching him in practice, and if there was anyone that you were going to notice, it was definitely 53. Nice interception too. I think it was like kind of a deflection. The ball popped in the air. Winters picked it off, going the other way. So he's making plays in the run game and being opportunistic in the passing game as well.
I mean, it's so important, and maybe even the attitude and just feeling a player out there, because that was what Dre Greenlaw was so big at for the 49ers defense. You felt his presence. So feeling a guy's presence out there, I think, is really important. Someone could fly around and make a lot of plays, and clearly that's what the 49ers are trying to replace, whether it was the third round draft pick in Nick Martin or with Dee Winters. And I'm excited about that training camp battle. I can't wait to see that play out in preseason games as well. And it does sound like Dee Winters, who's the veteran and the holdover and getting first crack at that thing, is not disappointing and is impressing so far in 49ers camp.
I had tweeted out Dee Winters. He just stood out to me. I get on the old Twitter machine or X machine. I see my guy Brad Graham. Shout out to Brad Graham, and he noticed the same thing. Now he went a little bit more in depth with his tweet and said, if there was any competition, I think Dee Winters wrapped it up today. I'm not going to go that far. There's a lot of training camp. There's a lot of preseason and whatnot, but it's very clear I wasn't the only one that noticed how Dee Winters looked when they put the pads on. So that was a sight to see. He was flying around out there, and that's what you want, right? You want one of these young guys to take control of that position, so that could be the guy that's next to Fred Warner. Fred Warner, who we're talking a lot about Dee Winters, but Fred Warner, high energy, nice pass breakup. I mean, just watching him is like he just loves playing football. Like, it's just very clear. I mean, just high energy every step of the way from the moment they stepped on the field. It was fun watching him and just how serious he takes practice. Oh, one more thing.
Okay.
Nick Martin. When you're watching team and everything, and again, there's a lot of new guys, young guys, so you're seeing these different numbers. And I wasn't even thinking about Nick Martin, even though I'm watching the defense and I see like 46 and 48. You're seeing these like off numbers. It's not registering. That's Nick Martin. That's the rookie right there, Crocker. You're supposed to be watching him. But just seeing him without even thinking about that being Nick Martin, I said, well, that guy's small. So
yeah,
he doesn't look like Dee Winters out there. Like, Dee Winters looks well put together, looks like he has good size. Nick Martin, again, without, just he looks small.
Well, Dre Greenlaw and Dee Winters, both similarly sized. They're undersized linebackers traditionally. Linebackers around the league are starting to, kind of trend a little bit closer to the 230-pound variety rather than the 250-pound variety, and even some of the 225-pound variety. But when Dre Greenlaw came out of school at 5'11", I think he was 237 is what he got up to pre-draft. That's still 15 pounds heavier than Nick Martin. So, and that was an undersized guy. He was thought to be undersized when he was coming out, compared to Nick Martin's 5'11", 221. So, yeah, we used to call that a safety, 5'11", 221. And so that's interesting. And I wonder if the 49ers are going to try to get him to bulk up over the course of a season. Is he wearing 45, Nick Martin?
I think it was 46.
Maybe 46. I remember it being an ugly number. I just don't like numbers in the 40s for linebackers. You know who I saw was Jihad Campbell of the Eagles is wearing number 30?
45. Excuse me. Yeah,
45,
Nick Martin, 45.
45. Jihad Campbell's wearing number 30 for the Eagles, and he was wearing like shorts that look like swim trunks. And I was like, man, something looks off about Jihad Campbell flying around just from the clips I saw of Eagles camp. And I was kind of researching a little bit for the Peacock and Williams in the NFL show. And the shortest shorts I've ever seen on a football player and wearing number 30 at linebacker. So interesting choices there for Jihad Campbell. And wearing number 45. I don't like it. I hope he earns a number in the 50s. And maybe that's what he has to do, is a lot of these guys start out in the 40s, as Fred Warner did, wearing 48 in his opening training camp for the 49ers. All right, we'll talk more about 49ers camp, what Croc saw, and a rookie that was running with the ones, and the one I'm talking about might not be the one you expect. Next. Today's episode of Locked On 49ers brought to you by Gametime, and the Gametime app is something that any sports fan, any concert goer, any comedy show goer, any theater goer should have in their pocket and ready to go and check anytime they're about to buy tickets. And we've all been there logging on early, waiting for concert tickets to go on sale, only to lose your spot for a show you've been dying to see. Live music should be about making memories, not dealing with the stress of ticket shopping, and that's where Gametime comes in. Gametime makes getting concert tickets faster and easier than ever. Prices actually drop as it gets closer to showtime. It drops as closer it gets to kickoff, closer it gets to first pitch, the puck drop. Whatever it is, whatever show, sporting event you want to see, you can save up to 60% off killer last minute deals. You get panoramic seat views, so there is no surprises. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off. Download the Gametime app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. We're going to bounce around a little bit. I want to talk about some the rookies and some of the defensive linemen as well, and from some of the reports around the 49ers beat outside of Eric Crocker's reports, and an interesting comment from Robert Saleh about his first-round rookie defensive lineman in Mykel Williams. But back to the sights and sounds from camp, according to Eric Crocker, I was a little bit surprised when you texted me that rookie Jordan Watkins, and I guess the numbers game would make it so that a lot of guys are going to have a lot of opportunities, and the rookie fourth rounder is one of those guys. Not only one of the three players the last few days that have been returning punts and catching punts at training camp, Ricky Pearsall, Jordan Watkins, and seventh-round rookie Junior Bergen are the three guys that are catching punts at practice by all accounts. And then, and it was the same today, but then Jordan Watkins getting some work with the ones at wide receiver. So what did you see from the rookie wide receiver, and what did you see from Pearsall now in his first padded practice, getting an opportunity to play a little bit more after kind of a warm-up day in his first day practicing yesterday?
Real quick, when I text you, so I was texting you, just kind of making note of things that I was seeing. Like Peacock was probably like, "Why is Croc texting me this stuff?" Right? But it was just really quick notes. Boom, I would send it just to be like some sort of a reminder to talk about some of these things on the show. So did I text you number 1, number 17, and number 86 returning punts?
That is correct.
Junior Bergen looks really small. I didn't know that was him.
Number 86.
Yeah. He looks small. He's a very small receiver.
I think list 5'10", 185 pounds, maybe something like that.
Look more 5'7", 180 pounds. I mean, he looks.
Wow, okay.
Yeah. But aside from that, they were back there returning punts, and that was awesome. But 49ers, they got to team, and like you said, the numbers would dictate that somebody's going to get more reps that probably wouldn't be this role when you don't have Brandon Ayuk out there, you don't have Juwan Jennings out there. But it was just kind of interesting to look out there, and you see not only in 3 receiver sets when they would have a Ricky Pearsall out there, they would have the receiver that they got from the Rams, Robinson.
Demarcus Robinson, yeah.
Yeah, they would have Demarcus Robinson out there. Then you look and you see, Jalen Watkins, and he's running with the ones, and he's getting a lot of these reps. But even when at times they went to 2 receiver sets, you would see Ricky Pearsall and you would see Jalen Watkins out there. So the rookie getting a lot of really good reps, and you're hoping that he's taking advantage of those kind of opportunities and really excelling. But and he caught a few passes for sure. But it was just interesting, like the rookie running with the ones. All right. Didn't know what to take from it, but it was just, I felt like noteworthy.
Jordan Watkins, not Jalen Watkins. Jalen Watkins, I believe.
Jordan Watkins, excuse me.
Wide receiver at the Chiefs. Jordan Watkins, rookie for the 49ers. Junior Bergen, by the way, listed 5'9", 184. So it might be one of those where he's 5'8" and 3/4 or something. But yeah, Junior Bergen. I've seen clips of him by himself, and he didn't look small. But now I think about it, he wasn't next to anybody to compare him to. And it's not like Ricky Pearsall and Jordan Watkins are huge guys either, right? And so if you look small next to those guys, you probably aren't very big.
Yeah, look tiny.
Hey, Dante Hall, the human joystick. What was he, 5'8", maybe? 5'8", 175?
5'8".
Like that.
Yeah. It was just interesting. Now, the thing with Bergen is, on top of not being the biggest in stature, he's not like fast. He was, and even watching him in college with as much returns as he got, and this is not me downplaying the FCS level at all. I have a lot of respect for those schools. So we got Sac State up the road. I can't wait to go watch Sac State play and watch them do big things. But Bergen had a lot of returns at that level. And when you watch him on film, he didn't look like the most dynamic player. So I'm curious to see how that, like his skill set and what he is, not really being big, not really being fast, not really being the most dynamic, does the vision and maybe just ability to kind of find holes, make it to where he excels as a returner at the NFL level. And that's different when you have, I got to the NFL level, and these edge rushers and outside linebackers were, 6'4", 245 pounds, and they can beat me in sprints and change directions. Like, you're not seeing that at the FCS level.
Right. Yeah.
So now as a returner, it's like, oh, it's Robert Bill running down trying to tackle me. Like every team has those kind of guys. Like, you're not seeing that at South Dakota State Jackrabbits or whatever they're called. Like they just don't have those kind of freaks running down the field. So do I still look like what I look like at North Dakota State? That's going to be the big thing, to do it at the extent while not having the traits. Now, if you have all these crazy traits, those translate regardless. But when you don't have the crazy traits, and now you're just seeing these more freakish athletes that are chasing you, does it still look the same?
Did anything stand out to you from Ricky Pearsall? Because by all accounts I'm seeing, Croc, he caught just about everything except for maybe one pass that was broken up by rookie third-round corner Upton Stout.
He was strapped on that play. Upton Stout, terrific coverage. But overall, I thought Ricky Pearsall, like, he just fits what they do. It wasn't anything, I didn't see anything that jumped out, but it just looked like somebody that is probably very consistent in the 49ers offense. They hit him over the middle. Now, he had one play. You know what? I don't want to get to that yet because I want to wait till we get to the staples of the offense and what the 49ers were doing. But overall, Ricky Pearsall, he looked like someone that's definitely going to be a contributor in the 49ers offense. He looked like he belonged. It didn't look like a guy that is still trying to find his way. He looked like the veteran, and he's going to have to be, because, again, you look out there, who are the receivers that were out there today? You had him running with the ones, Watkins running with the ones, and Demarcus Robinson. Robinson ain't going to be out there week 1, or week 2, or week 3. So you're going to need Pearsall to look like what he looked like today. And I think for the 49ers, they definitely would take that.
And it's not going to be Quintez Cephas, who lasted one day with the 49ers before he had to get cut so they could make room to sign Eli Apple at corner. So that was the transaction this morning to get Eli Apple out there at practice. So Quintez Cephas, we hardly knew you, stuck around for one whole day for the San Francisco 49ers. We'll see if he makes an appearance because the Niners are still a little bit low on wide receiver numbers as well. Let's talk about those offensive staples and some more notes on some rookie defensive linemen, including a note from Robert Saleh himself next. This episode of Locked On 49ers presented by Yahoo Fantasy. Fantasy football, it's back. Gearing up for it. I'm fired up. The group chat is going. Draft board's getting ready. Buckle up for a season filled with breakouts, busts, and all the overreactions we live for every single season. It's all going down on Yahoo Fantasy this year. I am, as I am every year, playing on Yahoo Fantasy, and you should too, whether you're a first-timer or a veteran making your millionth league. I've been playing Yahoo Fantasy for over 20 years. It's kind of crazy how long I've been playing Yahoo Fantasy, and they've been doing it the best. They're still doing it the best. And guess what? It's getting better because to celebrate 28 years of fantasy greatness, Yahoo Fantasy is dropping 28 big new features over 28 days, giving you more ways to play, more ways to draft, and more ways to win. It all begins August 4th. So stay tuned and get started by creating or joining a Yahoo Fantasy Football League at yahoofantasy.com/LockedOnNFL. That's yahoofantasy.com/LockedOnNFL. And let's make this fantasy season the best one yet. So you talked about the offensive staples, Croc, that were somewhat showcased at camp. What did you mean by that? And what did you see from the 49ers offense, both good and bad out there?
Oh man, so the 49ers, they definitely put a big emphasis. And now here's one thing. Gosh, who was it? I think it was Watt. I think it was JJ Watt. And he was talking about stats, right? And he's like, oh, people keep track of stats. Essentially, he's saying like it's a joke. You never know what teams are working on in practice. And one thing that seemed to be an emphasis today was more outside zone, like stretch type runs. And off of the stretch, you have your play actions. So you're watching the stretch runs. Didn't seem like there was a whole lot of space for the running backs. But when they showed that stretch action, pulled it and booted out, oh man, I mean, just wide open all day long with guys coming across the field, just huge gaping windows for quarterbacks to throw into. And the quarterbacks were hitting those guys like more, I'd say 90% of the time. They were successful. So seeing the 49ers work on something that's clearly going to be a staple of their offense, and it gave me some things like, hey, you need to work on that with your team and put more emphasis on like that instead of a bunch of other things in practice tomorrow. But excellent job by them being able to execute that. The one thing that happened, not a whole lot, right? But okay, you know how training camp is. The fans, they want to see all the great things happen for the offense. And anytime defense makes a play, they're like, oh, boo, right? So, I talked about interceptions early on. Nobody wants to see that. But there was one play and the fans cheered. I'm like, that's not that great of a play. Ricky Pearsall did a great job of going down and digging a ball essentially almost out of the dirt, right? And it was a throw by Brock Purdy, which I think Brock Purdy did well today. But there was an opportunity. I just feel like you can't miss these opportunities. Yes, terrific catch from Pearsall to go down, dig the ball up, and catch it. But that has to be a catch and run opportunity. Because if he catches and run it, that's a huge play. So it would have been a nice, 12-yard gain. Awesome, moving the sticks. You want the 30-yard gain. You want the 35, the 40-yard gain. And you can't miss on those opportunities. And that was one time specific, but there was a couple other that quarterbacks in general maybe missed on some opportunities. Not anything too glaring, or I wouldn't worry about that. It didn't seem like it was something to worry about even for the rest of the day or moving forward. But that was just one play that stuck out to me where fans were excited and they were cheering. I'm like, need to hit him in stride on that one.
Yeah,
there were some vertical pushing balls though. And it was good for me to talk to my quarterback who was there with me, because sometimes he just wants to chuck these go balls up. And I'm always telling him, like, hey, that's the lowest percentage throw a quarterback can attempt. How many times have you seen like these quarterbacks today in practice just chuck up go routes? He's like, none. Like, well, what are they throwing? 5-yard out, slant route, crossers off play action, deep out. And I thought the 49ers quarterbacks were pretty efficient throwing those routes as well.
I mean, that's going back to Bill Walsh, and there's like, oh, I forget what the term is. There's general accuracy, and then there's pinpoint accuracy or something like that. And essentially, it's like, okay, you completed a pass, that's good, that's accurate. But if you put the ball where it needs to be on the right shoulder, so a guy can run after the catch, that could be the difference of 30 yards. So how accurate were you on that type of a throw? So I think that's some great perspective, Croc, on the accuracy of the quarterbacks. And obviously, and the windows that Kyle Shanahan can create and why his offense is so good. One of the reasons why the 49ers offense in those wide zone concepts might not have been finding a ton of places to run is because of potentially some of their young defensive linemen, Croc. And I've seen a ton of great reports on the 49ers offensive line. I want to talk about a couple of guys in particular. One is the first rounder, 11th overall pick, Mykel Williams. Obviously, he's a guy everybody's going to be watching, big old number 98. Some good reports from a lot of folks today about how he looked. He looked athletic, not only just big, but looked fairly quick out there. And Robert Saleh was asked about Mykel Williams, and Trent Williams was asked about Mykel, and he dropped the DeForest Buckner comp. And so reporters after practice were trying to get Robert Saleh to drop a juicy comp for Mykel Williams, and Saleh did not take the bait. In fact, he did say, look, Mykel is going to be a hell of a football player. And he also said every day he's going to prove to get better and prove that he belongs. But when he asked for the comp, he said, quote, I don't want to pigeonhole him. I don't want to put a ceiling on what he is capable of. So not only did he not say DeForest Buckner, he said, you know what, I don't even want to put that ceiling, even if I put a big time name on it, because maybe, who knows, he could be even better than that. That's the way I read it from Robert Saleh. And clearly the Niners didn't draft him 11 overall if Saleh wasn't going to be a big fan of Mykel Williams.
I talked about it did not look like there was much run room at all, really, for the entirety of the day. I mean, I saw a couple nice kind of cutbacks, reading the zone and being able to put their foot in the ground. There was a couple of nice counter type runs, but overall, and they ran the ball a decent amount. They maybe had, from my viewpoint, 5 positive runs, maybe. And that's not to say that the line was bad, but maybe that's to say, hey, dude, they got the right guys up front, and they're doing exactly what you wanted them to do coming in, and that's be able to, you don't got to be this great pass rusher, but be good at the thing that you were good at in college. And right now, those guys were very stout on the edge, up the middle. There was little to no run room for any of the 49er running backs, including Christian McCaffrey, who was out there.
Yeah, I mean, whether it's Mykel Williams, second rounder Alfred Collins, fourth rounder CJ West, those guys could stop the run in college. They are big, powerful dudes. So at least be that as rookies in the NFL. And I think early returns are pretty good on potentially all three of those guys, although we've seen a lot less of Alfred Collins just because he wasn't practicing during the spring. But big number 95 stands out just by being big at practice, does he not?
Yeah, he is huge. And then 95, you got to see him come over and sign autographs for the fans after practice. And I'm looking at him like, there's a big dude. Well, the reports are true.
Reports are true. He is in fact large, 6'6", 330 pounds.
And real quick, not sloppy looking at all.
Big like he's too.
Yeah, he looks, obviously he's big, but he's well put together. Like, he's not a big sloppy tummy type of guy. If you told me he had a 6-pack, I might believe you, because he looks, for a bigger guy, he looks fairly lean, even at 330 pounds or however much he weighs.
When I saw his dimensions early in the draft process, I was thinking to myself, how did they not convert this guy to offensive tackle when you have that length, those arm lengths, 6'6", 330 pounds, and then you're at Texas and you have these other big time 5 stars that are already starting ahead of you that end up being first and high round picks. But he's stuck at defensive tackle, and that was the big thing with Alfred Collins. He was like, okay, man, he had a calf all spring. He's 330 pounds. He was even hurt pre-draft. Has he not been able to condition? I was worried he's going to show up and look like a sloppy 350-pound defensive tackle. And the first day I saw him at camp, once he had signed, it was like, oh, don't have to worry about that. These put together, it looks like a good 330 pounds. And you can't say that about a lot of guys. I want to highlight CJ West to finish this up, Croc, because as your former podcast co-host, Rob Lauder, put it on Twitter, CJ West was undefeated on the day, beating everybody. Dominic Pooney, whoever you put in front of him, one-on-ones, he was just winning against everybody. The fire hydrant is what they're calling CJ West. Stout number 99. Did you notice anything from any of the other rookies on the defensive line?
Yeah, I mean, he was solid as well. If the 49ers hit on those three guys, and when I say hit, it's not even like you're saying they got to be all pros. But if those three guys are just starters for you, then yeah, I don't think I'll ever say a bad thing about anyone that has anything to do with the draft for the 49ers. Because that just would be huge.
Home run if you can find three starters, and then that's not even counting the 2 third-rounders, Upton Stout, nickel, and then Nick Martin at linebacker.
Which Upton Stout looked good.
Yeah,
he looked good. And I got to watch him. He was probably the first guy out on the field, and you're watching him in the early outs, and you're watching how he's working, with one of the assistant coaches and the things that he's working on. And then, he had a couple nice pass breakups on the day, flying over the top of one guy and breaking the ball up without pass interfering him. Just looking solid. And if I'm not mistaken, I should have texted this in the phone, but I think getting some outside corner reps in base situations.
Okay.
Don't quote me on that, but I believe that's what I saw.
I like it. I like it a lot. More reports from camp coming. Croc, anything else you want to lay on us before we go?
I probably need to go to more practices because it's a lot more fun when you get to see it in person and then come on the show and talk about it. Absolutely. I feel like I know more of what I'm talking about, and like that's probably where I shine more than going off of what other people say. So I'll get out. Shout out to my guy Zay Hodgins. He hooked me up with the ticket. So I'm gonna have to reach out to Zay, and who had a solid day as well. Caught a couple passes. One of my players said, man, number 18, really good with his split releases. I was like, yeah, that's my guy right there. So shout out to Zay, and I'm going to have to get some more tickets from him.
Isaiah Hodgins. Shout out to Zay, winner of the day, just for getting Crocker and his kids from Stag High some seats to go out there and watch training camp. So that's phenomenal stuff. Yeah. Absolutely. Let us know what you want to hear about at BD Peacock, at Coach Crocky. Drop a comment on YouTube. And of course, we will be back tomorrow as we continue to be, I believe, Winky Wednesday, the first Winky Wednesday in a little while. Wink has been overseas. Brother getting married, having a good old time, jet setting around the world. We're going to talk about some uniforms. Like the Niners been teasing these uniforms. They're not going to drop them for another month still. Tons to talk about. Of course, 49ers camp. We've got it all for you. And you know how Wink loves to talk about special teams, a good old-fashioned kicking competition. So I want him to weigh in on that as well next time, right here, Locked On 49ers.